I'm sure by now you have crafted with Dollar Tree fabric rolls, but have you crafted with their burlap fabric? It is so fun. On a recent trip to the thrift store, I found several frames, including this one. It had water damage, but I knew I had a plan for it. So I brought it home, and we're just going to remove a little bit of the surface by simply sanding it down. It does have water damage on the top, the side, as well as a little bit of the back. So sanding it down just a little bit really helps, as well as roughen up the surface, removing grime and any sheen so that we can paint it. But of course, we want to wipe it really well, remove all that dust, and then I'm just going to give it one pretty heavy coat of Waverly chalk paint in the white. Now, I wasn't sure if one coat would be sufficient, although Waverly chalk paint has great coverage, but I wasn't sure, so I'm just going to give it one coat, let it dry, and then once dry, I am going to bring in the fabric that we're going to be using. This burlap roll is awesome. It's very neutral, and I love the color tone. So I'm just going to place it on top and see if that one coat really worked, and it did. So we are going to then pour a ton of Mod Podge right on the surface. This is because this is a new technique. If you've seen me recently use this technique, it's new to me. So I'm just going to add pretty heavy coat of Mod Podge and then place the fabric right on top once the Mod Podge is dry. I'm going to use some parchment paper and my mini heat press to just basically iron it. I wasn't sure if it was going to work because it is thick, and I've only worked with it with paper and napkin and thin fabric. So I wanted to make sure that it would work, and it did somewhat. Once it was attached, which it did attach, I cut off the excess using my scissors, and then the corners, the edges, lifted up a little bit. So it wasn't a strong hold. Now, in order for it to stay there, then I had to add a little bit more Mod Podge underneath the burlap as well as on top, just kind of tapping it. And I did that all around the edge. That way it's not going to come off. A little bit of work, but it's so worth it. All right, once everything is dry and attached, I'm going to use this beautiful pumpkin stencil. It's from Essential Stencil, and several of these Waverly neutral tone paints to create a beautiful welcome sign for fall. Now, I know I'm not quite full-time crafting for fall, but I thought I'd show you this one because it's so adorable. All right, so we're going to start with white, and I'm just going to do one pumpkin in white, the other one in the beautiful celery tone, and then just move on to the other tones. And then from there, we're going to do the stems and the leaves, and I just can't wait for you to watch this and see how it turns out. Now, burlap is very thick, and I wasn't sure if it was going to seep. It's gorgeous. Oh my word. All right, so here's another reusable stencil, and I'm just going to use the welcome portion of it, and I'm going to use brown paint to stencil it, and I'm using my favorite stenciling brushes. If you are looking for stenciling brushes, these are it, my friends. I get them on Amazon, and I do have them on my Amazon store, which is linked down below. Gorgeous. Now everything is dry. I'm going to take this sunflower from Dollar Tree. It came in a little pot. I removed everything from it and cut the stem really close to the flower, added a ton of hot glue, and place it right there on the upper right-hand corner. And then going to use the leaves as well. I'm just going to add one to each side with a little dab of glue just to add that color and texture and design. Oh boy, this is gorgeous. Now, of course, you can use any color combination and design you want. I love the texture of the burlap fabric, the stencils, everything. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comments. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to start with this one frame. It's gorgeous, but it's not my style. It is solid wood, my friends. So good for crafting. Now I'm going to remove the wired hanging piece just with my wire cutters, remove it carefully. And then I do want to remove that middle portion. So I'm just going to use my mallet and just tap it really carefully. And it actually removed really easily. So I'm just going to carefully remove it. It had staples, but none of the staples remained on the frame. So yay for that. Then I'm going to just sand it down just a little bit. Again, to remove grime, soften it, wipe it really well. And I am going to paint this one white. I gave it one first coat, and then I did give this one a second coat because it needed it. And it looks so fresh and so ready for its next life. This is the burlap fabric we are going to use. It's gorgeous. It has a beautiful pink tone design with butterflies on it. Now, when you open these up, they are very curled. It's no secret. So I'm just going to put a towel right over my workbench, and then we're going to place the burlap right on top. And we're just going to iron it again with my little mini heat press. And we're just going to do that. Now, this is also on my Amazon store, not the Cricut one, but there is a similar one and it's a lot less expensive. So if you want to check it out, again, it is linked below. I iron it a bit and then I'm just going to cut off several pieces that are about maybe 5 or 6 inches wide. And I left it in the length of the fabric roll. Once it was somewhat ironed, I'm going to fold them in, just like this, into about 3-inch pieces. And then I'm going to place it right over the frame, just like this. We're going to flip it over and then we're going to staple it. So we're going to hold one side with a bottle and then we're just going to staple one side very carefully. Now you can also use a regular stapler, but these ones are really, really good. All right, so then we're going to pull and kind of tug at it and then staple the other side. Cut off the excess fabric from the back and we're going to do the same thing with a horizontal one. All right, so now we're going to cut off a piece of foam. This is just foam from Dollar Tree. And then we're going to use some zip ties, again, from Dollar Tree. We're going to crisscross them right there in the center, tighten them as best as we can. And then we're going to cut off the excess. This is just to make that center portion a little bit more scrunched. And then we're going to add a little bit of glue and the foam right on top in the center there. And one more zip tie to hold everything together because we are going to add florals and we just want something to hold on to it. Now, you don't have to add the foam. I think it would hold, but I think adding foam really makes it nice and steady and secure. This is another one of those potted flowers from Dollar Tree. Remove the flower and the leaves once again. We're going to add glue right there in the center and the floral right there. Doesn't that look gorgeous with the design? The leaves, the same thing as we did earlier. Just add a little dab of glue and then place one leaf, one on each side. And I make sure that I added them right there in the corners. That way it just looks beautiful. Gorgeous piece. This will make a great gift for someone. I love the color combination and I'd love to know what you think of this one. Let me know down in the comments. For this next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we are going to take this other frame. Now it does have a beautiful design on it. So of course, I know most of you are going to say, that was cute, and it was. But I wanted to try something different. I'm going to remove everything from it, including the hook and all the staples from the back. And then we're going to remove that middle portion. Now, I wanted to be very careful with this one because I didn't want to ruin it because I am going to reuse it. We're going to tack down or hammer down some of those staples that are left behind. And then we're going to give a fresh white coat of paint. Again, you don't have to. It was already white, but I just wanted to freshen it up and brighten it very nicely. So one pretty light coat was very sufficient. We're going to put it to the side and let it dry. And we're going to start working with the burlap fabric. This is gorgeous. It has a flower design, very neutral, but yet bright and very, I don't know, just cheery. We're going to open it up. And again, it's going to be quite wrinkly. So we're just going to use our mini heat press to remove most of it. It's never going to be quite perfect, but it does remove quite a bit. All right, so now we're going to take the middle portion of the frame and we're going to place it right on top of the fabric. And we're going to just kind of wrap it almost like a gift. I'm going to remove the excess from the corner so it's not so bulky because we do want to place it back on the frame. So we're just going to hot glue it, but we're going to leave a lot of give in the front. So you're going to see it's not going to be tightened. It's not going to be flush with the surface. It's just going to be nice and loose because we are creating a tack board. It's going to be for notes, for pictures. So we're going to take this pillow from Walmart. I always have a pillow from Walmart to remove stuffing as needed for my craft. So we're just going to stuff the center with it. We're just going to start way at the back, making sure that it gets down in the corners and all the way to the end, and then keep using, I use a dowel, but you can use your hands if you want, and then just keep stuffing it until you have enough where you want to see. Then we're going to flip it over. I did realize that it was quite loose still. I want it to be a little tighter, so I just removed the one side, and we're going to hot glue it again, making sure we are tugging and pulling so that it's nice and tight. And then once I have everything nicely secured in the back, we're just going to cut off any excess so that it's nice and cleaned up, I guess. And then it's time to place it right back on the frame. So we're just going to place the frame right over it. And then we're going to flip it over and we're just going to use staples. Now I am using my electric stapler because I do need it to go through everything so that it staples nicely. Now, even with this, it was still not attaching quite as well. So I decided to add some screws, one in each corner, just to make sure it's not going anywhere. These are screws that are not going to go through the frame. They're small enough where they're going to hold, but not go through it. So again, I did that one in each corner. We're going to put that sawtooth hook once again right back on it. And look how gorgeous this is. This again will be a great gift for someone. Love the way it turned out. Let me know what you think down in the comments. For the next Dollar Tree DIY craft, we're going to take this burlap fabric, gorgeous polka dot, very neutral. Again, we're going to iron out some of those wrinkles and folds, and that we are going to use the entire thing. We're going to fold it inside out, and we're going to hot glue it to itself, just adding a little bit of glue on the hem, and we're going to hot glue it right there, just like you see. We're creating a cute little outdoor pillow, or you can also use it indoor. It doesn't matter. So then once it is attached, we are going to flip it back to its front, and we are going to stencil a chicken. And I laugh because I don't know if it looks like a chicken, but let me know what you think. I'm going to cut off some of the sides just to make it a little smaller. And then here's the stencil. It's from Essential Stencil, and they have different types of chickens. And I picked one, and then it just, I don't know. I added a cardboard in between so that way the paint does not seep through the other side. And I'm just going to stencil it. I'm using a little bit more of a tap mode instead of a round and around motion because I just didn't want it to seep through. It's so thick. All right, so now we are going to just do the center. And here it is. Does it look like a chicken? I think it looks like a blob. Let me know. All right, I'm going to put some yarn in a stitching needle, and we're just going to thread in and out on the sides, leaving about an inch from the edge. And we're going to leave a huge amount right there in the center, and it all makes sense here in a minute. Once I reach the other end, we're going to tie both ends into knots, and then we are going to cut the middle portion and then make a cute little bow. And you're going to see, it's all going to make sense. See, it's so cute. All right, because this is a pillow, we're going to use more of that pillow stuffing. We're just going to stuff it inside, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other end. Once again, just going in and out, leaving an insane amount in the middle, tying it on both ends, and then cutting it in the center and making a cute little bow. And I gotta say, it looks cute. I placed it on my rocking chair on my porch. I guess it does look like a chicken. Anyways, let me know what you think of this one down in the comments. I have another video here for you with tons more of Dollar Tree DIY crafts inspiration. Check it out. I'll see you later and have a blessed day. Bye.